his team, that's for sure. Let's look at the map ban phase, see where we're going to play, and we'll just get that underway right now.
Well, there's the more banned ones getting banned first. The 2 of them auto-banned, though.
Coastline's gone.
So the standard stuff
Cafe is going to be one of these
probably
bans.
Next.
Cafe's the next.
That leaves Clubhouse.
Guarantee you. And there you go.
There you go. It was the most picked map, and it continues to be. This is one both teams have played a fair amount as well. So, if I remember correctly, neither team. Oh no, BD has won this once. They both played it, I think, 3 times, and lost it the majority of those. Elevate having lost most of their matches. No surprise they lost.
Clubhouse.
That's a surprisingly closer.
What? Actually,
than I would have expected.
I've got Elevate playing this 4 times and losing it 100% of the time.
Yeah, 4 times. Yeah, you're right.
And then it was 3 times for Black Dragons, and they've won it 1 time.
So statistically, actually,
BD has a better record here.
Yeah, by far. I mean, technically, a smaller sample size, but
also Elevate has like the worst stats in the region. So like, if we're talking about stats, then we're not really giving this match any real not much more to look at. Like if we're no matter what map we're talking about, Elevate have probably, if not the bottom tier, then like.
Here's the thing though, they've gotten better at it. So here's the scoreline over time. There is 0-7, then a 2-7, then a 5-7. So they've gotten better every time they've played it.
Sure, they're progressing, but Elevate. The point I'm trying to get at here is, no matter what we look, if we're gandering at the stats, even if they're improving, Elevate still have the worst for their region.
Oh, for sure.
They also have like one. They have the bottom performing player on their team as well. So, but it's in the entire region. But it's not. It's Elevate's had a struggle. Honestly.
I mean, this is practice for relegations at this point for them.
None of them are positive right now.
Wow, that's not good.
Which is not fantastic. Yeah, usually, like even on like Ints, for example, who are still fighting to avoid relegation spots. Even Ints has like duds for is positive 21.
Yeah,
he's having a good season.
You're talking about KD, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about KD right now, and like there's other examples, of course, but I'm not going to drone on and on about it. The point I'm trying to get at is Elevate have to show us that they are a different team today. Effectively, in order to win, Elevate have to show us they're a different team. I mean, enough about Elevate. Talking about Black Dragons, they've had a really interesting season as well. PZD and WAG really showing up as big performers for the team, as well as live. I mean, if we're looking at clutches, though, it's PZD. PZD has clutched 5 times this season, which is just an impressive statistic.
And sometimes you don't always see the clutch player as like the stand-on player, because a lot of times earlier in the round you see other players, but at the end of the round, PZD shows up.
Yeah, no matter how you're looking at it too. Actually, PZD is just in general the top performer, except for opening kills.
Yeah,
which is he's got 21 to.
And that's exactly what I meant. Is sometimes you see the opening players as like the dominant one, even if it's actually really the clutch player that's winning the rounds.
Yeah. Anyway, going into this match, it'll be Elevate starting on defense. We'll have it be Cash Room to begin.
And then with Maverick Band, of course, they are starting on the advantageous side then.
Yeah, so Maverick, Montaigne, Mira, Echo. Nothing crazy there.
I like them teasing the Clash to switch to the Mozzie. Of course, a 6-pick to a Mozzie is nice, because how are we going to find out there's a Mozzie? By droning. And if you find out by losing a drone to a Pest, even better for Mozzie. So it's a good operator to hide.
You know the weird thing? We don't see any Thatcher ban, which is what we've been seeing on Clubhouse quite a lot.
And C is going to play it then?
Yeah, of course he'll get played.
That nullifies a little bit of the Maverick ban, not a ton, because it's still you can still trick it.
Thatcher's the second most banned operator on this map globally, but about around 20% is what I have here. Capital the most banned, but he will also be in play, though not brought.
Which is surprising, because there's so many small boxes you could turn into ovens.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
it's
I mean,
tricky.
A Capital Firebolt covers for, I'd say, okay, then hang on, let me just lay this out in my mind. For the majority of rounds, the majority of rooms, Capital Firebolt covers about half of the room.
I think it's like 5 to 8 meters by 5 to 8 meters, somewhere in there.
Right. But I'm saying on Clubhouse specifically. Like, we were just looking at the top down.
Yeah. So that like half the server could be firebolted.
Yeah, half the server, half a third of the cache room. But like I'd say the average for rooms on Clubhouse is probably like a third.
The important thing is there's only limited cover in those rooms, and the ability to get around that cover with the firebolts is the thing.
You know, always in comp play, it's all about those angles and your positioning, right? Well, Capital eliminates the possibility of the safest spots being played for the defenders.
The rafters, for example.
Yeah, like the rafters. Like, you just can't play there anymore. Nope. Congratulations, you're going to get picked when you're running away from the fire. And that's such a common occurrence. But again, he's not being brought here. What is happening, though, is Black Dragons have opened up the server wall. Hell trying to fight a player downstairs. I believe that's Wag on Habana.
Always good to keep control of the bottom of Cash stairs if you can as Elevate, because you don't want to get flanked from there if they're pushing Garage and they have the wall open on server. If you get pushed from Cash at the same time, it's basically over.
Yeah, so it is definitely dangerous, but obviously when you go for that dual-prong push as the attackers, you leave yourself exposed to aggressive plays from the defenders.
In this case, the other way around.
Yeah, in this case, it's going to be Black Dragons who get the initial pick. And it'll be on to Level players. That's really unfortunate for Elevate because, of course, that's your Maestro. And you don't want to be losing your Maestro early.
Yeah, I mean, the Roamers are doing an okay job, but it's the site defenders of like the Maestro that are getting picked off.
He was actually on the rafters, and I think he died on the staircase, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
you can see him right there.
I know there's no Monty, so staircase isn't going to get pushed the same, but wow, there goes another defender. That was the Hell who was playing downstairs. Taken out. The C4, unfortunately, impactless.
I'm not sure what he was thinking with that C4. There's a minute left. The attackers aren't rushing site. That C4 could have denied a plan.
Yep.
He's going to get aggressive and peek the balcony. He'll take down PZD. So, okay, things working out all right here for Elevate.
But he's already taken out the Evil Eye, and that's the big thing.
That's true. Job done.
Yeah.
Cypress also challenging the Buck in construction, and he will be traded on the down, leaving just Zion on defense. Holding at the top of the stairs, he has a window to pick up his teammate, and it looks like he's going to try and do that just now as he picks up Cypress. Suddenly 2 versus 3, but low HP on the Valkyrie, and no C4. Again, he could have used that C4 to deny, but he wasted it on the balcony, which allows GDN to get a nice and easy plant. Now in the post plant, Zion's getting an aggressive play, and he'll get his second kill for the round. Continuing to challenge, but now both of the players on Elevate are on low HP. Saya holding on the rafters. Oh, Cypress gets a double. Wag his third. Zion the last. Who's going to get more in this round? It will be Wag as Zion peeks the breach, and Black Dragons take round number 1.
That was just, unfortunately, a battle, I think, of just over-aggression or miscalculated aggression. So you had that early on from the Maestro. He shouldn't have been on the staircase, for example. You had them playing overly peeking, overly using C4, just overexposing themselves. And then the end of the round was Black Dragons over-peeking it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely... Okay, it looks like both teams are kind of playing with... The turn of phrase I like to use is reckless abandon.
They want to fight. They just want to fight.
Yeah, they're just going for it.
Especially when this doesn't really impact either of their standings. Even more, they just want to skirmish.
So let me explain what's going to happen here. If Elevate wins, they will get a few more points, and nothing will change in the standings. If Black Dragons wins, then they will get a few more points, and nothing will change in the standings.
Yeah, they can't overtake Liquid, so...
They can't overtake Liquid. They can be overtaken by Ints, but what does it matter? Because Ints is in 6th, so that would just push them down 1. So neither team is fighting for anything.
Yeah, Black Dragons technically is the one that benefits the most from this matchup.
Because they guarantee their spot in 5th instead of 6th, but that doesn't matter because 6th is no different than 5th.
And that's why I think we're going to see a lot of aggression here. I think that's going to be the name of the game. And I know we talk about that a lot with Latin America, but I think especially in the context of this match, there's no reason not to play a little bit more reckless peeking, and I think we're just going to continue.
I don't know if aggression is the right word. What I would say is just the ranked style. I like to say ranked style when I'm talking about what I see from teams who are playing with, like, they don't care.
But I think some of the context of that is ELO matters a little bit less than standings in Pro League do.
Well, I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars worth of...
Yeah, so I think if you could cash ELO in for the same value, we'd see ranked play a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, to be fair, actually, after they introduced champions...
there's a little bit more to play for.
There's more to play for.
I like to see pros grind more, too.
We're seeing a lot more closet cheaters. We're seeing a lot more of, pros actually investing themselves into winning ranked matches. You know,
I think at the end of the season, we almost needed extra standings of just where the pros are.
Definitely. Live getting aggressive here in Moto, just pushing up with Moto drop still being intact, which allows him to be flanked. That was just Live just pushing down main stairs and looking for free picks. He didn't have support from his teammates. He was not being droned. Moto Hatch is still intact, I believe, which means he basically was off on an island. Now, usually you don't ever see that in Comp Siege, but again, I wouldn't know if I don't know if I can really effectively call this Comp Siege with the way that it's being played right now. That's not a slight at the teams as much as it is a statement of the positioning of the teams.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to move on. Live gives away his life, and now Elevate have the man advantage. Cypress ate a little bit of damage, though.
But the thing is, that's an important operator to take out, of course, because the floor destruction does matter for this attack to an extent. especially between Kitchen and with the PZD just not as quick on the trigger, but
Yeah.
I mean, he just takes a little bit of damage for it at the end of the day. They could bait him right here. Nope, they don't bait him. He just gets a free kill. Cypress wants to play it a bit back. He still has a C4, at least that's good, and a battery if he needs it. But a lot of utility left for the attackers here as well, so
Really
Black Dragon's just a little slowed down.
He's actually going to drone for himself before pushing this time.
Smart.
Yeah, it's good, covering all the bases. Soft destruction going at the bottom main stairs. You don't necessarily need to do that anymore now that you've droned it and you know there's no one there, but it will give you some extra line of control, I suppose. Also, you can get the default cam before you actually push the hall. That default cam in the hallway often is the most useful default cam on this map. There are few default cameras that are useful.
Yeah.
That one often is the most so. Now, Elevate, still with a strong advantage here because they have, there's no breaches just yet, but that's about to change. I'm curious as to why Zion, he doesn't have any batteries. He's not even going to contest this. He pre-placed all of them. The Thatcher got them, and GDN's going to get the entry there onto Cypress after the wall got opened up. But from blue, there will be a down onto GDN, but no finish off. Elevate will finally take him down. There you go. Wag gets hell, though, on the refrag. It's just Rom, and he is going to get 2 for his troubles before being eliminated. So Black Dragons 2 rounds in a row. The hard breach really working well there for them, and Elevate didn't try too enthusiastically to deny that breaching.
No, and that was really the thing that cost them because they were actually doing pretty decent before that.
Yeah.
But once the wall got open, just the crossfires, the angles, and really the gunfight results were going much in the favor of Black Dragons. Yeah, the Thermite got down. That wasn't the greatest part, but he did his job. He didn't need to be up at that point, and the gunners were gunning.
See, here's the thing that really strikes me, is that in a normal match, what's going to happen is, okay, you're going to get that early pick onto live.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, actually, in a normal match, he wouldn't have just walked into sight like that.
It's true.
But let's say you got the early pick anyway in some other means. And then what's going to happen is you are going to focus very intensely on denying breach on the church wall or anywhere else. Once you've delayed that long enough, the attackers run out of time and they're forced to rush you through bottlenecks. And that is usually how a basement defense on Clubhouse will play out, especially given the way that Black Dragons were playing that.
Yeah.
Not so in that last round. No, they just opened the wall for free. Thatcher's unbanned. Hard breach, both Habana and Thermite, done.
And that's the thing is, you get a little bit better job of being able to trick it, I think, sometimes upstairs and Cash, just because that's usually the battle between them, although with Zofia and play doesn't work as well. But Maverick doesn't play a factor a lot of times into opening the church wall. And so it just comes down to, like, the normal Thatcher and just time your breach charge right. There's not much happening. I mean, you can do things with impacts and whatnot, but they're just not doing that. And we're not even seeing necessarily the play from Black Dragons to be able to try and counter that. You can do Capital, for example, to firebolt it. You can hit him with a Zofia to try and stop the animation. You can even play the Buck from above with grenades or things like that, although they lost the Buck early that round. But there's a lot of play and counterplay around that wall that we're just not seeing from either team. And so it's just down to just straight old, like, year one, basically. Like, you know what we saw Youngtis doing? Like, just Thatcher and open the wall. I'm sure you remember that. You were there for that.
Yeah, when I lost to Youngtis in
Well, they were doing that. They're
season 2 finals.
Yeah, church wall, church wall, church wall.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Did we even play Clubhouse? I don't remember.
I thought I remember church wall being a big part of that.
Well, I mean, so the church wall meta was like, that was what everyone did on attack.
Yeah.
Because that was back when Thermite was the only hard destructor.
But I just remember that was like their only strat that they focused on. Like they had, you know, he had his book of like 60 strats or whatever, but that seemed to be the only one they used, which was open church wall.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was season 2, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently in season 10. So
yeah,
it was a while ago.
But that's my point, is that not too much has changed on that wall when it comes down to if they're going to play like year one meta.
We actually did see a match on Clubhouse recently. I want to say it was Europe, and we saw 2 hard breacher bans. It was Habana and Maverick.
That makes it different.
And it left just Thermite. And we did go back to the church wall meta.
Yeah. Because they were like, we can't really do much hatch play here, so let's just do church wall.
We'll open Moto drop. We'll open the church wall. Done.
Yeah.
Or they were actually, no. They were doing kitchen and dirt tunnel. Kitchen drop and dirt tunnel. Because that's another one of the old metas.
Yeah, back when, especially when Recruit Shield was a thing.
The way that it used to work is that you had blue, dirt tunnel, Moto, and main stairs, and then all of the vertical, right? And you would just kind of pick 2 of those and try to pinch between them. Anyway.
Especially now that you don't have to drop oil pit for blue.
Yeah.
Blue's a little more
Blue's accessible.
Yeah, blue is definitely a big fight here.
Speaking of 2, we're 2 minutes into this. Black Dragons are up 2-0, and the question is, will Elevate be able to deny those walls getting opened up this time? They have brought a Kaid again, This time, though, instead of a Bandit, I believe it is the Zion on the Legion there. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that's a smart rotation if he's got impacts. But he's playing my blue, actually, trying to contest the Oil Pit. One drop into Oil Pit from Black Dragons makes Zion's life very much more difficult. PZD takes down Rama, and there you go. We've got Elevate losing 2 early on. Black Dragons putting themselves in a good spot here, but Hell will fight back. We've been saying how he's been such an influence for this team after he joined. Live gets 1, though, and it's just a flurry of kills, leaving Cypress, the last defender. Somehow managing to dodge a lot of bullets there, but he'll be finished off by Wag at the end of the hallway to end the round. And Black Dragons, that's 3 in a row.
Well,
I was like looking through the tournament history here.
uh-huh.
Doing a deep dive, yeah, way back to Season 2.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
That was where I started and you finished. Technically, you finished at the start of Season 3, right?
So I retired as a player in the middle of Season 3, and then I started like near the end of Season 3.
It was a couple weeks later, I think, that Panky was like, "Come on out."
Pengu?
Panky.
Oh, Panky. I was like, what?
Yeah. Panky probably didn't.
Yeah,
say
no,
that.
no, yeah. It was Panky and a few, excuse me, a few other people.
Yeah.
That was, like I said, that was a long time ago, though. Not really worth.
Yeah, I'm just trying to add some context to what we're seeing here in terms of like, you've got all these new ops and things like that, but the meta we're seeing is still relatively straightforward.
Well, Basement Clubhouse wasn't changed much other than the blue.
Yeah.
Like, blue was, I think, the only thing they changed. I'm thinking back now, yeah, they added an extra lane to blue. That's it, as far as I know.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that was tweaked unless they like slightly moved things.
That's what I'm saying. They might have made some micro adjustments to things like positioning of boxes or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe the cocktail bar with the black box and stuff is maybe they adjusted those boxes a little bit.
No, I don't think they did, because I
Maybe not.
remember playing the same angle that's still
Yeah.
available.
No?
You know how when you go behind black box and you lean to the left, like into the black box, you can see under the little barrel thing.
Yeah,
Like you can still do that.
it's true. It probably hasn't changed much then.
Yeah, I don't think anything's really changed. Maybe they did change it. I seem to vaguely recall them saying something about changing black boxes, but I don't know. Anyway,
We'll have to ask Scooby.
yeah. Anyway, mostly Clubhouse Basement hasn't changed other than the blue lane. That's the only sweeping.
This play is definitely changed.
Oh yeah, no.
This is widely different.
So we're back to Cash again, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And nothing's been successful, obviously, by the scoreline for Elevate. They haven't been able to defend anything, but Cash, I don't know. Did it look better? I'm not really
At the end, but only because Black Dragons overpeaked their post-plant coverage.
Yeah, they almost managed to lose it, but in the end, I think it was Wag who clutched it out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, on that Habana, definitely.
Yeah.
Because he had the bearing to back him up because he was low on ammo on the Type 89.
Yep. The bearing is so good at that close-range engagements, and if you're a player that knows how to leverage it, it's good. Oh, Elevate may be able to get
Tricky
this.
attempt here.
He didn't. Oh, no, it's the lifeline.
Yeah, he got
PZD.
hit just in time. He backed off. Smartly, though. He didn't die for it. And actually, GDM was the one to get punished, so that actually worked out in some ways for Elevate.
Elevate did a good job. I got to respect Zion for trying to trick the wall. Sometimes it's hard to really negate the lifeline. So what happened there is, and you could tell because Zion was running away slowly, is he got hit by that lifeline through the drone hole, which is a common way to deny tricking. Wag, lead-off kill, onto Hell. Now what that was from Black Dragons is great droning from them, and then a nice rush from Wag to follow up said droning. Cypress will take down Live, so there is a bounce back here from Elevate, and as Zion adds to that on the roam, Wag eliminated means less hard destruction as an option for Black Dragons.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting here in terms of whether or not they can play those angles into their favor, because it's a lot that's going to be focused on that server hole.
You know what? There is a lot of, though, for Black Dragons. Despite being at a man disadvantage, they've got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Solid minute to work on whatever it is they want to work on. The only thing is they actually have to do that instead of idly sitting on angles like we see PZD doing right now.
That's why you gotta love the efficiency of getting that wall open early. It reminds me of like Consulate when you get the garage open early, but
Yeah.
we're seeing again something you see like on Consulate where they're just stalling out after that.
Something that really irks you as a spectator for Rainbow is when you see, like, okay, you need to get this wall on the outside open.
Yeah, and they're not countering
and they
much.
no, and they do it at the end of the round. They're
God,
like, oh
yeah.
yeah, we got a minute left, let's open the wall.
Gee, I wonder
just
what they're
do
gonna
it.
be pushing.
Start with that, man. It's
Yeah.
the beginning of the process. Lev going to get a lead off there on the initial engagement here. Cypress will add to it as GDN hits the
diffuser
floor.
drop, too.
It's just Saya, and he's going to get 1 for his trouble. He's got it, like you said, he's got to get that diffuser or pick up 3 more kills to end this round out. He's going to choose Workshop as his confrontation location. He'll get a second there onto Rom, who gets way too aggressive unnecessarily. And the third onto Cypress. Why are you peeking him?
There we go.
The last kill will come out from Elevate. Lev, at least, is not throwing.
Yeah, he had a cool head, and he's like, you know what? I've got an ACOG, 80 bullets, and an angle, and that's all I need.
Yeah. Could you imagine if everyone's just like, let's peek him?
If he tried to peek that with the bailiff, I would have been smacking my forehead so hard right there.
That would have been the max throw. He probably would have peeked with the LMG if he's going to peek at all. But
yeah,
as a good holdout there from Lev, and I'm sure he's saying right now to his team, hey guys, I know I won that, but I shouldn't have needed to win it quite that way.
I'm just glad he wasn't on the stairs this time. He was playing his rafters properly and just holding angles from there, and that's why they were able to clutch that out. But
so based on that success, now we have to go to the basement here for Elevate, because they've actually won something now. And
yeah, you don't want to go Gym second most of the time.
Most teams don't like Gym as much as basement and cash. Though, I will say, usually the most proficient teams are plenty comfortable on Gym.
Yeah.
And that's why we see them be able to trip up their enemy by going there when they're
And based off
unexpected.
Elevate's results, I wouldn't list them as the most proficient team.
Well, okay. No, I know we give a lot of smack talk to Elevate, and the reasons are, it's just we're looking at these stats and we're being kind of blunt about what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And again, a record of 1 win, 1 draw, 11 losses through the season is just not a lot.
Yeah, if they were
to talk about.
inconsistent and like winning some and losing some, that'd be a different story. But because they're losing pretty much all of them.
Because then we can we've got a lot of teams like that too. Because then we can take a look at teams like those and we can say, oh, well, they have their moments where they just show up and they beat big squads, and everyone's really surprised. I mean, even their opponents, Black Dragons, have been that team. Black Dragons have had some really good performances. They beat Ints 7-2. That was a really good match for BD. That was just a while ago. It's in the same half here.
But here's why Elevate's worse than Sisu or Sonics, though. They haven't even had a tie yet.
Yeah, and I mean, BD, in their most recent match, they tied Team 1. That's impressive. Team 1 are a very formidable team this season. Anyway, there's something to say. There's an angle on stuff.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been for Elevate just yet. Now, this is Elevate's, speaking of, if we're going to be talking about that, this is Elevate's last chance to actually show us something amazing. Give us a positive angle to talk about them through this season. And I think Elevate can make it happen. And they're going to get live at the beginning here. Zion really showing up here. He can't get a second on Desea, but he will at least get one before being finished off. And to Jackal, too, that's good.
Yeah, that is a great initial pick, especially since he was on the roam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got traded, but still. The thing about Elevate right now is if they had more intel on their peaks, they'd be winning more of these fights, and they wouldn't be just overexposing themselves. The fact that they're peeking into Black Dragons overall are a bit better in their gunplay. Mm-hmm. Don't peek blind. Just wait till you have the intel, whether it be sound, whether it be cameras, something.
One thing I have noticed is that Black Dragons are starting to slow down a little bit. They're starting to think more about their play ever so slightly. We're not seeing, for example, live... Well, I guess he is the leadoff kill in this round, but we're not seeing him get too aggressive to the point at which he's walking into the site without drones.
Well,
there goes Lev, though. He's going to take down PZD. So, okay, 2 kills early for Elevate for the cost of just 1 and 75 HP on Lev.
Yeah, and you know what? Lev wasn't necessarily looking to stay alive the whole time as a roamer anyways. So that's pretty worth it, considering that's going to really nerf a bit of the site push. I mean, yes, the Jackal, maybe not as much. They probably weren't going to go for smoke plants anyways. But taking down the Zofia. Zofia's a big gunner, and the ability to have those lifelines for some extra utility can really be sometimes a shifter in terms of making a push.
So we might start to see the bounce back here from Elevate. If they do win this, though, they will have to go to Gym or Bar, which should be a low-hanging fruit for Black Dragons. So theoretically, this could end in a 4-2 pretty easily for BD, which is still a win on the attacking side of Clubhouse. If Elevate doesn't manage to win this round somehow, if BD clutch up, despite their current predicament, which is, it's not great, man advantage, position, time, everything's not great for BD right now. If BD managed to clutch here, it's unlikely we're going to see Elevate take 2 rounds out of this first half. Let's see, though. 25 seconds left. GDN cannot get through this tunnel because of those gas canisters. He's going to have to rush it at some point, and that should cost him his life. Wag is starting to flank, though. He's in the site, and he's waiting for the push from the smoke. Timing's pretty bad here for the attack, but GDN and Wag will start making it work for them. They're now the last attackers, but they've got the plant position. Hell rushing in. GDN needs to cover. Will he? Yes is the answer, but not in time to allow for the plant. Hell with an excellent rush, and now Rama will get the final kill. It's done. Elevate managed their second round in this half. well done to them for not getting over eager at the end there and everyone rushing in and losing their lives. That really does fall at the feet of GDN for failing to cover the plant. I thought he had it.
That's his one job. Yeah, he had the cross.
Yeah. I thought he had it. Look, because he got the kill, but Hell got the kill at the same time onto the planters.
And he was forced into a really disadvantageous push on that diffuser too. It was all advantage to to Black Dragons to cover that. But it's funny because you're talking about, you saw Black Dragons slowing down a bit, right? Almost like they were taking Elevate a bit more seriously. But then Elevate countered by slowing down themselves.
Yeah.
And that worked out because, of course, they have the time advantage on being on defense. And you saw, like, once they got control of Arsenal and the 2v2, they're like, cool, we can plant. But the thing about planting in a 2v2 is it's now a 1v2, And in that situation, a trade worked out for the defenders because it dropped the diffuser, forced the last player on Black Dragons to push for it just because time was almost out. Gave it advantageous angles there. So, yeah, like you said, the plant coverage is what cost them that round there, 100%. We'll see how things go here for Jim, though. The match, or the bomb site we were talking about them not wanting to play, they'll have to play it now.
So this ought to be, keyword ought, not necessarily given. This should be a low-hanging fruit for the attack, and they should take this one pretty easily. Then we move on to a 4-2. Now, if it's a 4-2, then BD are effectively in a strong lead.
I never like seeing this bomb site without the castle, though.
Okay, elaborate. Please.
Just because the gym door becomes such a point of contention and an angle. It's a long angle into a hallway that's a 90-degree. And yes, you'll often have a rotate into the gym, but that'll often be coverable by the window.
Well, what if Elevate just don't plan on contesting the jacuzzi wall? Like,
what I'm saying is you can't contest gym at all then, because they have an angle from there. They have an angle from jacuzzi wall. They have an angle on the window to cover people rotating in.
I'd imagine that most teams are just like focusing on contesting it via the holes in the floor, right? Or the holes in the bottom level of the wall. I get what you're saying, though, because the window prevents that. If somebody's actually playing the window on the south balcony, but then that's where the server runout comes into play.
It's certainly possible.
And it's layers, right? So, like, we can counter your south balcony presence by a runout by server.
It just comes down to man advantage and coverage on that point.
Exactly, but that comes down to how much manpower the attack has, because if they have enough manpower, then they're going to watch the server wall, which is usually, it's common. But these are all just, like, that's the typical layers that Jim defense.
What I mean is overall the results that I've seen are generally more beneficial to teams that bring castle. They're generally winning more than teams that don't.
I mean, I totally agree with you there. That's like that's totally fair assessment. I don't know if it's like how do I say this? A guarantee of a loss.
No,
it
burns some utility, it slows them down.
That I would give a very strong edge to teams that bring castle.
It could be just a snowball effect too.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But in the end, it gives you more angles to work with as the defender. Gives you more positions to play.
They'll have the alibi instead.
And they'll have Cypress fragging out there on the breach. Live goes down, so how many times has Live been the initial kill?
I don't know, but Cypress has been doing a pretty good job getting at least one round up most of the time. But yeah, the Jackal going down early is never a good thing in this game.
So GDN just got bandit tricked. Saya is going to miss some really embarrassing shots onto Hell there, allowing the Jaeger to get away into office. Cypress will get his second kill onto Wag. No breach on the bathroom. Suddenly looks really bad for Black Dragons. PZD challenging server. He'll find Lev. Can he find the second? As Zion eliminates Saya over by the site. It's just GDN and PZD. Very low opponents, though. Cypress, Hell, and Rama are on low, leaving just Zion on full. Hell gets GDN finally, and it's now just PZD, and he's still contesting the server. This is not an ideal situation for PZD, considering his HP is also pretty low. He'll likely die to a single bullet from his enemies, depending on who's shooting at him, or two. Whatever the case, he'll die in a split second, and he's going to have to hit his headshots if he wants to win this.
That Goomline's certainly not going to help either because he has to fight through it for a second, and there's probably more to back that one up despite...
and there goes.
He can get himself back up. That's the one thing working for him right here, but that's 5 HP.
Is he actually going to get... Wow, he got back up, but he's finally finished off by Hell. So Elevate take 3 rounds in the first half. That's pretty bad for BD, but it's not terrible. A 3-3 is advantageous to the attackers on Clubhouse.
And to me, the reason they lost that round looked pretty simple is Elevate peaked and Black Dragons lost way too many of those fights. Whether they lost them on not getting the kill or just lost them straight on not getting, getting killed themselves. PZD at least got the one on the server window, but missed the second one. And Cypress getting a couple leadoff kills as well, that just snowballed that.
There were definitely some really unfortunate moments there for the attack on the side of BD, allowing the bandit tricking to happen. You can counter that, flashing above, nading above, whatever you have at your disposal. That happened because there was not enough emphasis placed on opening up that bathroom wall.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it's down to the bottlenecks. When you can't open things up, you really have to force some other issue. Now, what I would imagine the counter would be there for the attackers is to play your south balcony, especially considering PZD was challenging south balcony server window
so you
the
had that
whole
under
time.
control.
Yeah, so you had that under control.
That's your biggest risk.
But nobody's playing south balcony anymore, even though the risk has been eliminated.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about, is that coverage is important, and they weren't doing it. They were just getting peaked and peaked and peaked without proper coverage or just proper response, really. They weren't slowing down Elevate. But hey, good on Elevate. That's 3 in a row. That was pretty impressive pullback, and they're actually looking pretty good here.
A 3 in a row answer back to 3 in a row is good, but it's still advantageous to the attack. If you get 3 attacks on Clubhouse, you are in a good spot. So BD, not out of this yet. Still in control, I would say. They're going to go to basement first. Elevate have brought 2 of the 3 available hard breachers, but they've also got the Thatcher, which will be a good
I mean, that's
compromise,
setup, right? Because you open all the hatches and you open 2 walls.
So it's usually it's either Thatcher or Maverick. They fulfill similar roles.
Yeah.
But Maverick's more versatile, generally speaking, and Thatcher can do more. I know it's weird to say, but it's like there's slightly different advantages.
The big difference, I think, is dealing with Church Wall. Maverick can't necessarily do as much for that as he can for the hatches.
It's so hard to open that Church Wall with Maverick. Because there's nowhere to really back up to. There's no cover. Once you open the wall, it's open.
Especially with a Kaid in play, you can't just zip open the bottom and get the batteries.
Ideally, you want it to be explosive, right? You want the wall to be open. Boom, we have control now. Anyway, basement defense and Elevate have cleared out the roamers, so that's a good start.
The advantage that Elevate might have as well is that they're on bringing a Kaid and not a bandit. So it's all about the hatches. If they can just get the hatches open, Kaid doesn't necessarily have a lot he can do, unless he's going to try and check Church Wall, which I guess, especially if you have the impacts to help with that as well. I mean, because they are burning some EMPs on the hatches, so possibility you could try and deny that.
Well, so far, hatch opening has been pretty straightforward for Elevate.
Well, there's one Electric Claw.
Are they going to Electric Claw trick the kitchen? Interesting. He's also... Oh, no, he's got the Electric Claws all down.
I think...
So he's going to be impact tricking here. Flash has come out to counter the impact trick, but one shot taken by Hell. Impact trick successful initially. Some Excaros will detonate, but enough of them, I think, were caught to deny the drop getting opened. I'm not entirely sure. We didn't see.
Yeah, it looked like there was 2 left.
Yeah, 2 or 3 maybe, but it requires, what was it, 4, I think?
Yeah, I believe 4 was the minimum. It was 5, and then it got changed to 4, which was better because sometimes they don't hit, right?
So...
Oh, he's also taken a bit of damage if you look at Hell as well. He's lost about half his health.
He took a shot from the DMR shotgun on Saya.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, it really is. Just one, and then you're on a single bullet's worth of HP. Though, Saya will also be put in a similar position, so it's even HP just about here for the teams right now.
Honestly, though, he did his job. If he died at this point and still had done half the damage to Hell, he's done a good job.
He did manage to deny the kitchen drop getting opened up entirely, so that's really good. Small hole in it, though. Cypress trying to challenge into blue. Elevate all going to have to push into those bottlenecks as they have no serious breach in the site right now. Bottleneck number 1 working out for Elevate. There's number 2 as Cypress gets wagged. It's good contributions from everyone on Elevate as they just push in at the same time, and Black Dragons absolutely fall apart. GDN the last. It'll be a flawless round for Elevate. Not a single engagement going the way of BD. They were all looking in the wrong place at the wrong time in the last 20 seconds.
This is impressive considering Elevate actually have less to play for here than Black Dragons. Because Black Dragons can at least potentially change position.
Neither of them have anything to play with.
But that's what I mean. Is like Black Dragons can somewhat affect themselves in the standings, whereas literally Elevate cannot move.
You are technically correct, sir, which is the best type of correct.
It's not a big deal.
But it also doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean,
but it just means it's impressive from Elevate. Again, they've been improving on this map over time. So this is showing the possibility that this could be their first draw at least.
Elevate?
Yeah.
No, Elevate has 1 draw, 1 loss. 1 draw, 1 win, and 11 losses. They are 1-1-1-1.
Where did they have the draw? I'm not seeing it on the standings.
Elevate.
Oh, MIBR. I was looking at the standings wrong.
Yeah. So they had a decent season in the in the first half where they were actually like going toe-to-toe with people. Then they had like this really explosive, they're starting to...
I was just only looking at one half. That's why I didn't see the draw.
Okay. But yeah, no, Elevate, 1 win, 1 draw, 11 losses. We're gonna have a different number in there after today, no matter what the result. Maybe it's 12, maybe it's 2. We'll find out.
Yeah. Well, either way, though, it looks like they're putting up a good fight. That's the important thing for Elevate is, again, this is warm-up for relegations for them. They definitely want to stay here and try and improve over the season, especially since Hell was a decent pickup, and it's helped the team a little bit. But, I mean, last time they had a really strong player in VNX, he got poached. And so I would hate for them to lose whoever the strongest player is again and then just be in a terrible situation for next season.
Yeah,
but you never know. They could pick up a young upstart.
And there's a lot of those for sure, especially in Latin America. You've got a lot of, I imagine, some talent that's just waiting on the benches to jump in and actually influence things.
We used to have quite a bit of that because it was only you only had to be 16 in Latin America originally.
Really?
And because of that, we had a lot of young talent like Pino and things like that who were able to like really kind of get some experience in the scene. And then once it got changed to 18, they just kind of wait till they aged in, and they did, and they showed up. And so maybe we've got some other young talent that was in a similar situation.
Yeah. Well, used to be.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like they now that it's been like 2 years for them, they might be close enough to age in. Like Bolo.
Yeah. I remember we were still waiting for Bolo. At the beginning, Bolo really struggled, but he's just been tearing people apart lately.
Yeah.
Have you seen?
It's been insane. Like that's the thing is this game is always going to have this refresh of younger players as they age in. It's always going to be a thing in the esports.
Bolo has and I know we're getting sidetracked here, but Bolo has actually like completely balanced stats. He's -1 in the season right now, but he has like these moments that just he clutches up for his team.
-1 on a team that's like losing most of the time, a lot of the time.
TSM, yeah. Well, I mean, their record's interesting. I don't know if I don't know. They're one of those teams we can actually take a deep dive in. Remember when we were comparing Elevate to other teams?
Yeah.
Like there's something to talk about with TSM. It's complicated. It's not just outright loss, I guess. But anyway,
in this match though, Elevate again putting up a good fight. We'll see if their Jackal can live longer than we saw Black Dragons, for example. And he already has, I think, at this point.
Yeah, Live has been struggling on that Jackal, and here, we're coming down to the last minute here. Everyone's still alive, so that's at least better. Cypress again trying to challenge into blue. Last time Elevate were here, all they did was just rush in at the same time, and it worked. That's a waste of lifelines. No, it's not. Hell with the follow-up. That's a really good follow-up from Hell, but he doesn't get the kill. Seiya is covering his teammate on the breach there. Elevate now have control of blue, but it's dangerous to stay in this position without doing anything in terms of frags. And PZD is going to be the one getting the frags. WAG will add to that, leaving just Zion and Lev. And they're out both at the bottom of main stairs, if I'm not mistaken, so this is a really linear engagement for Elevate. Lev is going to have to ace in 30 seconds. Let's see if he can pull it off. This could be a really easy kill in GDN here.
This smoke is not going to help him either.
Yeah. Smoke, of course, being client-sided on that one, so it's hard to really tell what he can see and what we can see and how different they are. Flawless round for Black Dragons, though, to answer back to the flawless round that happened just the round prior, but in the other way.
Yeah.
There you go.
It could go really either way in Church, it seems. And I think some of that, too, was you saw Elevate lacking a little bit of intel on the positioning, but it's like the intel they had, Black Dragons remained very fluid. They moved around a lot in the arsenal, the way they rotated out of blue, and then moved around a lot in that area near the blue door and the rotate. Because of that, just you saw, for example, the Zofia just looking around trying to find the positioning because they didn't pinch anyone down, they didn't lock anyone down into position, partially because those the stuns didn't necessarily do a ton in locking that down. They just lost on the fluidity of that battle, and Black Dragons having the advantage knowing that Elevate were pushing into blue, they're getting boxed in at that point, and they took advantage of it. Obviously, that could have gone either way, had Elevate just happened to win those gunfights.
Right.
But I think it was little things like that that really helped Black Dragons stay a step ahead in those engagements towards the end.
Well,
Cash.
Every engagement went their way that time, which is a very strong contrast to the last round.
Very different.
Here now, Cash defense. This is the first time we've seen BD go to Cash, so that'll be a little bit different, at the very least. We have only seen Jim defended once, and it was by Elevate in the first half.
WAG, way up there at 13.
Yeah, so no, actually, WAG has been playing really well in this match. I'd say, sometimes you can just tell when a player is really on point.
Yeah.
And WAG is that player right now. He is just putting it together for his team and always just so on point. He currently is one of the top performers on this team overall.
Yeah. And he was newly picked up, I think, the second half here by the team.
Well, let me just double
Was
check
he the second
that.
half or the beginning of the season? I can't remember which, but he was newer to this team because he got dropped from a different team.
Yeah.
Over here.
So yeah, Wag did
Dropped
join.
from what, Nip, I think?
He did join in on the 2nd of the 9th month. So that's there you go. He's a more recent addition. He is technically.
He was a good pickup for
He's
BD.
the most recent addition to the squad.
Yeah.
And he is certainly a good pickup there. He really does bring a lot to this roster. And yeah.
First Capital being brought. That's good to see.
Yeah.
Especially for cash.
Finally, Capital. Now, Capital is going to be denying that cache wall or that server wall getting opened up, which is really big. But as Hell gets eliminated, that's limited hard destruction now for Elevate. So they're gonna have to be
the Thermite.
They'll have to be really careful with the Thermite. But yeah, at least it wasn't the Thermite, who's generally more influential on this site.
I like Zion checking his angles first before doing this to make sure he wasn't going to get peeked.
Yeah, that is good awareness from Zion. There wasn't anyone there, but just cover all your bases.
Yeah, make sure that you're not going to be trying to fight it with a crossbow. Cypress, man.
Yeah, he's been showing up here too.
He's definitely been one of the stronger players on Elevate today for sure.
You know who hasn't been very strong in this match? Life, who's the first pick here for Black Dragons once again.
Surprising.
He's been struggling, that's for sure. But yeah, he is actually. Let's see if I look at he's one of the better performing players on Black Dragons. So
I think the ADS captured that EMP.
Ooh, that's a waste.
He was ready to get that Evil Eye too.
See, if you place those EMPs right, you can get the ADS and the Evil Eye for one. But if they get caught by the ADS, then oof, that's
you got to
rough.
be careful about how they roll even sometimes.
Yeah, because rolling is catchable by the ADS. As long as it's in its radius, it'll catch it usually.
Yeah.
It depends though. We've seen some moments where that isn't true.
But there's like line of sight. You can even like sometimes punch bullet holes in walls and just like that be enough to catch them through. It's tricky.
Wag will take down Lev though on the entry here. It's a rush from the attackers, and PZD still downstairs, not droned out. He'll get one on Tarama, leaving just Cypress and Zion. Zion does get one before being fragged by Wag elsewhere. Cypress though on his double kill. To enter back Wag's double kill in the garage. It'll be a full fallback to site from Black Dragons. Since it's 2 versus 1, they want to really improve their odds by going at this fight together. Oh no, the lifeline eaten up by that gas canister. Because the gas canister is used by GDN, the lifeline effectively doesn't matter in this engagement. It's worn off at this point, and those gas canisters will continue to come out until there's no time left for Cypress, so he decides to rotate. The question is, will he win the engagement against the Maestro? Answer, likely no. No shots landed onto the Maestro, but Cypress on low HP. He's going to save KD. That's fine. Let him do it. At this point, it's not looking very likely. Though I will critique Cypress for saying by saying that round was winnable had he actually put an effort into it. I don't think that pushing up cash stairs like he did is what I would call an effort. That's called playing for KD if I've ever seen it.
I mean, to be fair, he was still doing better than the rest of his team. That round, obviously, if the rest of his team had showed up, it wouldn't have mattered as much.
That is a fair assessment. So, props to him for that, I suppose.
Yeah, small things to give him credit for. But at the end of the day, he's still one of the better performing members of the team. But it doesn't matter when you're losing, because now the one edge they had when it was up 4-3 now is a 5-4 reversed. And Black Dragon's creeping closer to that tie situation at the very least. But it definitely could. I could still see this going a tie just because it's been very back and forth. I mean, we saw the perfect example of that with a flawless round reversed into a flawless round for the other team on the same side. So, yeah, it really could go either way. I mean, I still favor Black Dragons for sure just because they are the stronger team at the moment.
And they are on defense.
Yep.
Of Clubhouse, of all maps.
I could see this going 7-5. So they get the Black Dragons get this round potentially, although this is Jim, maybe not. And then Elevate get around, and then Black Dragons get around, and then 2 in a row maybe. I don't know. I could see it going 7-5 here. But
I could definitely see the 7-5 or even a 6-6. Either way, again, it's not really going to change much.
Yeah.
So,
tricky.
Yeah, I imagine that coming into this, both teams were kind of just like, yeah, whatever. For Elevate, it probably means more in terms of stature because they've had such a
well, they just got picked up by Elevate too.
Yeah, they've had a bad season. They need to show something at the end here. But WAG has really given them a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, I imagine Red Devils, the org, has already picked probably the next team they plan to replace Elevate with, if they can. Just
they always,
that's been their pattern.
Yeah, Red Devils they've been sticking to that scene, man.
They're good at scouting out Challenger League. I'll give them that.
That's true. I always find they always manage to find the upcoming talents.
Yeah.
And give them some platform to work with. Now, PZD has eaten a little bit of damage early on. Not great for BD, but not the end of the world, that's for sure.
Still not too bad, as long as he doesn't overextend himself.
That's interesting. We only have one hard breacher bot here from Elevate.
And no batteries pre-placed down either, but
Remember,
trick.
remember in the first half when we saw Jim the first time, Black Dragons actually were bandit tricked, and they didn't have enough hard destruction to open up the bathroom
Oh, bandit.
wall. Yeah, bandit's not trying
no.
here. That's really good from Elevate. They're actually going to force him off, but Wag is going to get one for his trouble as he rotates over to the gym.
Here
now,
we go.
He's 4 batteries to trick the next wall.
Kaid's just setting him up ahead of time. The electric claw was on the hot tub wall first, and then now it's on the bathroom wall, so they're just keeping the batteries in his pocket.
Also, by my count, we have Thatcher having used 2 EMPs.
That leaves 1 to take the electric claw, and then batteries can just drop down and stay there.
There is the Capitao, of course, so you can use his bolts above the wall and try to deny the tricking, which is very easy on this particular wall, and he is next to that wall, so he might be trying to do that right now.
I would think that it's definitely going to come down to timing. They could try and deny, exactly that, but in the meantime, Live going down again, the first to die on Black Dragons once more.
Capitao rushing the main hallway here. PZD needs to hold, but the fallback there from the Capitao. Elevate just holding angles now, waiting for the rush to retake the round.
There's a lot of time left, though.
Good patience from BD is going to actually result in them getting a pick here. There's the firebolt to cut off the rotation in the main hallway. C4 goes out to counter, but it's caught apparently, not thrown or either that or destroyed. Wag punishing more on Jim, and he's actually going to get a down there for potentially his 3rd kill, but PZD is going to be the one to finish it off, and GDN gets the last kill. So BD managed to hold out on Jim, and they will put themselves on match point. Only 1 round separating BD from a win here. So Elevate, you forecasted what, a 7-5?
It's certainly possible here.
Yeah, I mean, Elevate, so they're going to have to attack onto the basement now is the tricky thing, because we just saw Perfect Cycle, which for those of you who are not familiar, Perfect Cycle basically just means 3 rounds in a row. And the reason that is called a cycle is because that's when your first site unlocks, is after you do your 3rd round. So because we just saw Jim, the 3rd site played, we go back to the first site, which is basement.
Yeah, I just got the feeling that, somehow Elevate will win this round, and then Black Dragons will win the next one, and it'll be over.
You think so?
The sites don't necessarily favor that, but I don't know. That was just the impression I get with the back and forth.
Kind of getting the feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, Elevate have flawless rounded this. Like, they can do it.
True.
They just need to push a little more carefully. And, with a bit more intel, you saw them, the round that they pushed just overextending themselves into the site area and getting picked. They were only droning a little bit after that when it was a clutch situation at that point. They needed to be droning a little bit better. Again, that was also due to the fluidity of Black Dragons and the way they pushed blue didn't work out for them. I don't see them necessarily doing that the same again. They could even go for a dirt tunnel push, just to mix things up at this point.
I mean, there's a lot of options for Elevate. Don't get me wrong. Like, they've got choices, but the flawless round that Elevate brought was answered back by BD's own flawless round on this very same.
I don't anticipate another flawless round.
Yeah, well, probably not. But I don't know. It does seem like BD has control, and overall, I'm expecting them to take a win. A big reason why is Wag's performance. He's not doing anything amazing. He's just kind of walking into Elevate and taking fights and winning them. Yeah. And sometimes if you just have the confidence to do that, it makes a big difference. In this game, confidence is so important.
And Wag's been a big player in Pro League for so long in Latin America that he has the experience to just win those fights.
And the reason why confidence is important, it's not an abstract thing. It's literally just peeker's advantage.
Yeah.
Like when you peek into something, you have the advantage 100%.
But the confidence also leads into your reaction time too, because when you're feeling confident, you take the shot when you feel it,
It's not this abstract thing, guys. It's a real tangible advantage.
Just ask MIBI with their mental coach and how they turn things around.
Yeah, it's a real tangible thing to have in this game. So yeah, right now BD in the confidence seat, I would say, on match point, going to basement defense. So as long as they don't do anything overzealous or over aggressive,
yeah, this could be over.
Should be over. Now, information's lined up here for BD. They've got good control. Good hold on everything. No utility wasted just yet. Elevate barely even probing the site. They just droned out that there are no roamers. It's going like a typical Clubhouse basement defense right now. Exothermic charge number 1 used on the dirt tunnel. That will force Live to fall back. You see he's just waiting to use his gas canisters. He's trying to be efficient.
Yeah, I like that he's probing it rather than wasting it. Because a lot of times thermites do just open it up and then run.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. You need those.
He's
so smart.
Just checking. It is risky at the same time because he can get picked off on
Of course, absolutely. He could easily get shot. But a lot of times people don't necessarily overpeak that. They'll drone first.
Right.
So it wasn't too risky, but yeah, either way, that could have definitely backfired on him.
Okay, impact tricking is going to be
let's
replaced
go.
by C4 tricking by Seiya, and down goes the Thermite. That's a really good start for Black Dragons.
Yeah, that's really not going to help things here. I think looking more like this could be the last round at that.
Certainly is, but there is, of course, potential for a comeback here from Element. There's the church wall getting opened up. Interesting that that wasn't stopped. It was Habana Excaros in the last set at that. It is not a rotation hole, though. It'd be hard to get through that. Hell's going to go down at the bottom of main stairs. As he tries to prone, he'll expose his feet to Wag, who punishes him for it. Cypress has not come close to blue just yet. Zion still has his bolts left, so he can use those to leverage positional advantage, but with the time being what it is, and the manpower being what it is, it very much looks like BD are going to lock this out. Now, Elevate just throwing in their bolts here, as it looks like Rama's going to go for a rush. He'll be taken out by PZD, who's covering that drop down. GDN gets another onto Zion, and actually, as it turns out, we might have a flawless round, despite not having forecasted it. Answer to that question, though, no. PCD goes down. Cypress, the last alive, and again, he's kind of just playing for KD at this point. He can't win, and there it is. GG, well played, comes into the chat. BD will take it 7-4. An impressive holdout there at the end.
Well done here. And that's, I mean, not a big deal. Black Dragons, though, possibly could move ahead now.
Yeah, so again, the match doesn't really mean very much, but at least it's, it's still another win. And BD, yeah, they aren't going to go up in the standings, but because Elevate's so far ahead of them, or sorry, Liquid's so far ahead of them.
Yeah, sorry, not go ahead. I just mean like block.
Yeah, they're not
getting leapfrog.
Ince isn't going to take their position away